What kind of homes will we find in Georgetown? The one thing that we don't have a lot of are condos. Condominiums we don't have very many of. There's a few, but not a lot. Majority of homes, if you live in Georgetown, would be fee simple, which just means house. Mostly row houses. We have a few detached, but mostly they are attached row houses. In terms of cost, the past year, the average sales price was around 2.3. The median was around 1.8. It's a good investment to have a house in Georgetown. If we went back 10 years, the average sales price was probably more around 1.8 and the median was around 1.2. What kind of houses will you have if you do live here? The one thing is we have these secret gardens. So you'll notice when you look at the footage on the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a lot of yard or green space. But you go through the house in the back, a lot of these houses have these beautiful secret gardens, some with pools, some with these beautiful landscaped gardens. And you also see that most of the architecture is federal. There's a little bit of Victorian, there's some Georgian, there's some neoclassic, but the houses that bring the biggest price tags are federal. So there's just this love for the federal architecture. So regardless of where you live or what kind of architecture you like, historically, if you love history, if you love classic architecture, if you love beautiful gardens, you're gonna love living in Georgetown. Who famous has lived in Georgetown? The list is too long to tell you in one short clip. But I will tell you, I'm in front of one of the houses that the Kennedys lived in. They had several houses. Julia Childs lived here, Francis Scott Key, Alexander Graham Bell, Madeline Albright, the Grahams of the Washington Post. Georgetown is rich with a number of people who've lived here with notoriety. The pros of living in Georgetown, one of the most famous neighborhoods in all the United States. Location. It's proximity to everything, whether it's Potomac River, downtown for work, other neighborhoods. Location. But it's beautiful. It is a community. They don't really call it a neighborhood. Georgetown's considered a village. There's East Village and West Village. Village because it's got the sense of community. You'll know your neighbors, people will do their walks. It's a very walkable neighborhood, tree-lined streets, beautiful cobblestone and brick pathways. But really, one of the most amazing pros to Georgetown is the architecture. The beautiful, beautiful, incredible homes dating way back to the 1700s, 1800s, Federals, Victorians, Georgians. It is all about a beautiful place to live, a community that's safe and people know each other. And it's filled with parks and restaurants that are on the borders, but inside Georgetown, it's a beautiful village. With all the pros that are in Georgetown life, there are a few cons, and there's not a ton of them. Really, cons of Georgetown are that there's no parking. Parking is tight. So less than 20% of the homes have parking. The streets are very narrow, and not everyone knows how to drive through Georgetown. So when the tourists come, because it is the #1 tourist site for neighborhoods in all of DC, when the tourists come, it's a little bit challenging driving around. So that's probably my biggest beef, is driving with tourists. The other negative is it is on the pathway to National Airport. So you're gonna hear planes land, but I can tell you, living here over years ago, is that you won't hear them at all. You get very used to it. And Georgetown, a con, it's expensive, but that's also a pro. Because if you're here and you invest money, it's a good, strong investment. Your investment's gonna go, and that con is gonna turn to a pro when it comes time to sell. So in spite of all of the cons, Georgetown is really a fantastic place to live. If you lived in Georgetown and you came home, some things you might get involved with would be your garden, and they have the most amazing garden tour, or maybe become part of the Georgetown House Tour. There's lots of options of getting involved in the community. One of the ways you can get involved in Georgetown is through Georgetown for Trees. You also can be part of Georgetown ministries that help people in need. There's so many ways to get involved in the community, and Georgetown is rich with opportunities. Georgetown is a walkable village. Whether you're walking for exercise, you just want to go and say hello to your neighbors, or your four-legged friend you're taking to Montrose Park or Dumbarton Oaks. Perhaps you're going down to the Potomac River to the Georgetown waterfront or grabbing something to eat. Georgetown is a walking village at every turn. Fun fact, Georgetown is actually older than the District of Columbia. Georgetown was founded in 1751, well before Washington, D.C. was. So when people come to do tourism in Georgetown, what is it they do? They always seem to want to go to the Exorcist stairs from the movie The Exorcist. Oftentimes it's going down the Potomac River and eating out al fresco, or checking out paddleboard and going out and going around the Potomac River. It might be going to Dumbarton Oaks or taking in some of the rich history and some of the house tours that you can have. But hands down, one of the greatest things about Georgetown is the architecture, taking in the streets. So if you're interested in history, if you love architecture, if you love gardens, Georgetown's the place for you. I'm so glad I was able to share a little bit about Georgetown, one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of Washington, D.C. with you. If you want to hear more, like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, to my Instagram. But if you're really interested in buying real estate or you want to know more about this as an investment, call me directly, email me, and I'd be happy to share my experience in all of Georgetown and what it has to offer.